Silence fell across Earth like a heavy blanket on that fateful Tuesday morning. The sun had barely risen over the horizon when the first alien signals reached Earth's detection systems, sending ripples of both excitement and fear through the global community. In the heart of Earth Defense Command's primary observation post, nestled deep within a mountain complex, Commander Hannah Kim watched history unfold on the massive holographic displays before her. The alien message repeated itself every 3 minutes, a complex pattern of signals that Earth's best computers had already decoded. They came from a civilization calling themselves the Confederation, and while their words spoke of peace, their underlying tone carried something far more sinister. Hannah stood motionless, her dark uniform crisp despite the long hours she had spent analyzing the signals. Her eyes, sharp and focused, tracked every detail of the incoming transmission. 20 years of military service had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now, every fiber of her being screamed that this was not a friendly first contact. The emergency meeting of Earth's Unified Defense Council appeared as holograms around her. Representatives from every major nation gathered virtually to make perhaps the most important decision in human history. The tension in their faces was visible even through the flickering blue light of their projections. Admiral Ta-Won Park, her mentor and friend of many years, materialized beside her. His weathered face carried the weight of decades spent protecting Earth's interests. "The Council is leaning towards silence," he said quietly, his voice carrying a hint of uncertainty. "Are we certain about this course of action?" Hannah's fingers moved across the holographic controls, bringing up detailed analysis of the alien signals. "Look here," she said, pointing to specific patterns in the data. "These embedded frequencies, the way they pulse and probe, they're scanning us, testing our technological capabilities with every transmission. This isn't a greeting, it's reconnaissance." The Admiral leaned closer, his eyes narrowing as he studied the data. Around them, the Council members continued their heated debate, their voices a distant murmur through the command center's sound-dampening field. "If we respond," Hannah continued, "we give them exactly what they want, a measure of our technological advancement. But if we go silent," a small smile played at the corners of her mouth, "we become a mystery. They'll assume we're primitive, unable to detect or understand their signals." The Council's decision came swiftly after that. Within hours, Earth began its greatest deception. Hannah stood at her post, watching as thousands of orbital defense platforms went dark, their signals fading one by one like stars at dawn. Military satellites shifted into stealth modes, and civilian communications were rerouted through underground networks. Deep beneath the surface, in vast chambers carved from solid rock, humanity's real work began. The silence above was matched by furious activity below. Entire cities began their transformation into fortresses, their surfaces remaining unchanged while their foundations were reinforced with advanced materials developed in secret over decades. Mountains that had stood peaceful for millions of years now concealed massive shipyards, their peaks hiding the construction of vessels that would one day defend Earth. Engineers and scientists worked tirelessly, their innovations protected by layers of secrecy and silence. Hannah spent countless hours coordinating these efforts from her post, watching as humanity's greatest engineering project took shape. The holographic displays showed her everything: the progress of the underground cities, the development of new weapons systems, the training of pilots and crews for ships that officially didn't exist. During one late-night shift, Admiral Park found her still at her post, reviewing construction reports. "The Confederation will come," he said, standing beside her. "They always do. But they'll expect to find a primitive world, cowering in fear or ignorant of their presence." Hannah nodded, her eyes fixed on the displays showing the latest advancements in quantum stealth technology. "Instead, they'll find a world that has used every moment of silence to prepare. Every second they spend underestimating us is another second we use to grow stronger." As weeks turned into months, Earth's transformation continued in absolute silence. The alien signals became more frequent, more probing, but Earth maintained its facade of silence. On the surface, cities appeared normal, going about their daily business, while beneath them, armies trained and weapons were forged. Commander Hannah Kim knew that this silence wouldn't last forever. Sooner or later, the Confederation would come to investigate the mysterious planet that ignored their calls. But when they did, they would find that Earth's silence hadn't been born of fear or weakness. It had been the quiet before the storm, the deep breath before the plunge. As she stood watching the latest construction reports, Hannah allowed herself a moment of pride. Humanity had taken a risk, chosen a path that many would have thought foolish. But in that silence, they had found their strength. And when the time came to break that silence, the galaxy would learn just how much humanity had accomplished in the quiet dark. The alien signals continued their endless broadcast into space, meeting only silence in return. But beneath that silence, Earth was far from quiet. It was preparing, growing stronger with each passing day, ready for the moment when silence would give way to the thunder of humanity's response. The massive alien ships appeared first as tiny dots on the long-range sensors, their energy signatures burning bright against the darkness of space. Fleet Commander Du-Yun Lee stood on the bridge of his cloaked command ship, the EDS Silent Thunder, watching as the Confederation Armada entered the solar system, with all the caution of a lion approaching what it thought was a helpless prey. Through the advanced holographic displays that surrounded him, Du-Yun could see every detail of the incoming fleet. Their ships were enormous, each one nearly the size of a small city, their hulls gleaming with an alien metal that seemed to absorb starlight. They moved in a loose formation that spoke of supreme confidence, or supreme arrogance, counting 37 capital ships in the first wave. Strategic Officer Sun Mai Choi announced from her station, her voice steady despite the tension that filled the bridge. Their fleet formation suggests they expect no resistance. They're not even running active shields. Du-Yun allowed himself a small smile as he studied the tactical display. After 2 years of waiting, the moment had finally arrived. Then they'll learn the hard way, he said quietly. Maintain stealth protocols and continue monitoring. Record everything. The Silent Thunder hung invisible in space, its quantum stealth systems making it completely undetectable to even the most advanced alien sensors. Similar ships were stationed throughout the solar system, watching and waiting as humanity's moment of truth approached. The Confederation fleet passed Jupiter's orbit with barely a pause, their engines burning bright as they accelerated toward their target. Their communication channels were alive with chatter, all of it intercepted and translated by Earth's AI systems. The aliens spoke of an easy conquest, of claiming a world that had proved itself primitive by failing to respond to their signals. They're launching scout ships, Sun Mai reported, highlighting several smaller vessels that detached from the main fleet. Standard search pattern. They're heading for our orbital installations. Du-Yun watched as the alien scouts approached Earth's seemingly abandoned space stations and satellites. These installations had been carefully prepared for this moment, stripped of any technology that might reveal humanity's true capabilities, while maintaining just enough active systems to appear as abandoned relics. All observation posts reporting ready, his communications officer announced. Ground stations are maintaining radio silence as planned. Below them, Earth appeared peaceful and quiet. Cities continued their daily routines, but deep beneath their streets, vast military complexes hummed with activity. Mountain bases stood ready, their weapons aimed skyward, while remaining hidden from prying eyes. The first scout ship reached the International Space Station, now appearing as nothing more than an empty shell in orbit. Du-Yun held his breath as alien scanning beams swept over the structure, searching for signs of life or advanced technology. Finding none, they moved on, exactly as planned. "Commander," Sun Mai called out, her voice tight with controlled excitement. "Their main fleet is splitting up. 3 battle groups are moving to establish orbital positions around Earth. They're completely exposing their flanks." Du-Yun nodded, watching as the alien ships maneuvered themselves into exactly the positions Earth's strategists had predicted they would take. The Confederation's arrogance was working in humanity's favor, making them careless, making them vulnerable. "Send word to all cloaked vessels," he ordered. "Record every movement, every scan, every communication. We need to know their exact capabilities before we strike." Hours pass as the alien fleet settled into orbit around Earth. Their massive ships cast shadows on the cities below, a show of force meant to intimidate a population they believed was watching in terror. Instead, hidden cameras captured every detail of their ships, while sophisticated sensors mapped their weaknesses. In his command chair, Du Yun felt a fierce pride in humanity's discipline. Not a single unauthorized transmission had been made. Not one ship had broken stealth protocols. Not one weapon had been fired in panic. Earth maintained its silence, even as alien ships filled its skies. "They're beginning their broadcast," Sun Mai announced, putting the alien transmission on their main screen. The message was simple, a demand for Earth's immediate surrender, a promise of lenient treatment if the planet submitted without resistance. Du Yun watched the message repeat itself, broadcast in every human language the Confederation had decoded from Earth's old transmissions. They still believed they were dealing with a primitive civilization, one that would be awed by their show of force, and quick to submit. "Send the coded update to command," he ordered. "The enemy is in position and proceeding exactly as predicted. We are ready to proceed with the next phase of the operation." As the alien ships settled into their orbital positions, Du Yun thought about all the years of preparation that had led to this moment. The sacrifices made, the resources spent, the endless hours of training. All of it hidden behind Earth's veil of silence. The Confederation thought they were conquering a helpless world. Soon, they would discover just how wrong they were. But for now, Du Yun and his crew maintained their watch, invisible guardians recording every detail of the invasion force that thought it had already won. The real battle was yet to begin, and when it did, the aliens would learn that Earth's silence had never been a sign of weakness. It had been the silence of a predator, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The quantum reactors pulsed with a deep, steady rhythm that echoed through the vast underground chambers of Mount Pektu. 5 kilometers beneath the ancient volcano's peak, General Zhou Kang walked through the gleaming corridors of humanity's largest hidden military complex, his footsteps echoing against metal floors that stretched into the darkness. The facility was a marvel of engineering, carved from solid rock and reinforced with advanced materials that could withstand even the strongest earthquakes. Massive manufacturing lines stretched for kilometers in every direction, their automated systems working tirelessly to produce the weapons that would defend Earth. General Kang paused at a viewing platform overlooking the main production floor. Below him, rows of stealth fighters took shape under the bright industrial lights. Each vessel incorporated technology that would have seemed impossible just a decade ago. Quantum stealth systems, AI-driven combat computers, and weapons that could pierce any known alien shield. Colonel Nira Yun approached from the command center, her tablet displaying real-time production data. "Production of stealth fighters is at 98% completion. General," she reported, her voice filled with barely contained excitement. "The underground network is fully operational from Seoul to Sydney. Every base is ready." Jai-Ho nodded, studying the holographic displays that showed similar facilities worldwide. Under every major mountain range on Earth, humanity had built these hidden fortresses. The Himalayas concealed entire fleets. The Rockies housed missile batteries that could strike targets beyond Mars. The Alps held enough supplies to sustain a decade-long war. "Show me the reactor status," he ordered, and Mayray brought up new displays. The quantum reactors that powered these facilities were themselves a testament to human ingenuity. Clean, nearly unlimited power sources that gave off no radiation signature the aliens could detect. Workers moved with purpose through the facility's many levels, each person knowing their role in humanity's greatest secret. Engineers monitored the production lines. Scientists fine-tuned weapon systems, and pilots trained in simulators that perfectly replicated alien ship behaviors. The Confederation ships are still in orbit, Mayray reported, bringing up satellite feeds on her tablet. They're broadcasting surrender demands every hour. Their scans show they've detected nothing of our underground network. Jai-Ho allowed himself a small smile. Of course they haven't. Every centimeter of these facilities is shielded by quantum dampening fields. They could land their ships directly on top of us and still find nothing. They walked together through the fighter assembly area, where the latest generation of Earth's defenders took shape. Each craft was a masterpiece of engineering, smaller than the alien ships, but far more advanced. Their neural interface systems would allow pilots to control them with thought alone, while their quantum weapons could bypass any known defense. Launch preparations are proceeding on schedule, Mayray continued as they entered a vast hangar area. All pilots are at their stations. Support crews report full readiness. The transport network between bases is operating at maximum efficiency. The transport network was perhaps their greatest achievement. A system of underground maglev trains that could move ships and supplies between continents in hours. The aliens above had no idea that beneath their feet, humanity had built a web of tunnels that connected every major military installation on Earth. "Show me the global status," Jai-Ho ordered as they reached the main command center. The room's walls lit up with displays showing similar facilities worldwide. Under the Andes, under the Alps, under the Urals, everywhere, humanity's hidden armies waited. All bases report ready for Phase 3, Mayray confirmed. The Americans have completed their Pacific Fleet. The Europeans have their missile systems primed. The African Confederation has their ground forces in position. Everyone is just waiting for the signal. Jai-Ho studied the readiness reports with satisfaction. 2 years of silence had given them time to prepare, to build, to train. While the aliens above thought they were dealing with a primitive civilization, humanity had created the most powerful military force in its history. "They think our silence means surrender," he said quietly, watching as another squadron of fighters rolled off the production line. "They'll never expect what's coming." "When did the last test flights complete?" "All squadrons have passed their final trials," Mayray reported. "Combat readiness is at peak levels. The pilots are eager to prove themselves." The general nodded, remembering his own days as a fighter pilot. These new ships made his old aircraft seem like toys in comparison. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy an alien cruiser, all hidden behind stealth systems that made them invisible to any known sensor. "Send word to all commands," he ordered. "Complete final checks on all systems. When the signal comes, I want every facility ready to launch within minutes." As Mayray hurried to relay his orders, Jai-Ho turned back to the main display. Somewhere above them, alien ships cruised through Earth's skies, their crews confident in their superiority. Soon, they would learn the truth about humanity's silence. Soon, they would discover what humanity had built in the dark. The quantum reactors hummed their steady song, powering humanity's secret army. In the depths of Mount Pektu, General Jai-Ho Kang watched his forces prepare for war, knowing that when the moment came, Earth's silence would end with thunder. The surface of the moon had never looked more peaceful. The alien fleet drifting in Earth's orbit paid little attention to Luna Base, dismissing it as another abandoned human outpost. Hidden beneath the lunar surface, Commander Hae-Yong Park stood in the heart of humanity's most advanced military installation, watching as hundreds of warships powered up their engines. "All squadrons report ready," her tactical officer announced, his voice steady despite the tension filling the command center. "Quantum cloaking systems are functioning at optimal levels. Weapon systems are hot." Hae-Yong's eyes swept across the holographic displays showing her fleet, vessels that represented the pinnacle of human engineering. Each ship carried weapons and defenses that had been developed in total secrecy, tested and perfected during Earth's years of silence. "Begin launch sequence," she ordered. "Maintain quantum cloak until all units are in position." Deep within the moon's crust, massive hangar doors slid open silently. One by one, Earth's warships rose from their hidden bays, their quantum cloaking technology rendering them completely invisible to the Confederation's sensors. The aliens continued their orbital patrol, oblivious to the fleet gathering in their blind spot. Haeyang's flagship, the EDS Thunderbolt, took point position. Her crew worked with practiced efficiency, each person knowing that humanity's future might depend on the next few minutes. Years of training in secret were about to be put to the ultimate test. Fleet is in attack formation, her second-in-command reported. All ships are reporting weapons lock on designated targets, waiting for your command. Haeyang took a deep breath, thinking of all the preparation that had led to this moment. The aliens had mistaken Earth's silence for weakness. They were about to learn their mistake. All units, execute Protocol Phoenix, she ordered, her voice clear and firm. The response was immediate and devastating. Hundreds of Earth vessels simultaneously dropped their cloaking fields, appearing like ghosts in the midst of the alien fleet. Before the Confederation ships could even register the threat, the first wave of quantum torpedoes was already streaking toward their targets. The alien ship's shields flared brilliant blue as they tried to defend against weapons they had never encountered before. Earth's quantum torpedoes passed through their defensive screens as if they didn't exist, striking with pinpoint accuracy at vital systems. Multiple direct hits confirmed, her tactical officer called out. Enemy vessels showing critical damage. Their fleet formation is breaking apart. In Earth orbit, Admiral Ta-1 watched from his command center as the carefully planned attack unfolded. The Confederation fleet, caught completely by surprise, was attempting to reorganize, but their movements were panicked, uncoordinated. Send word to all commands, he ordered, his weathered face showing grim satisfaction. Operation Awakening is now in effect. As if in response to his words, more ships began appearing throughout the solar system. The hidden bases on Mars activated, launching their own squadrons of stealth fighters. Asteroid belt installations that had appeared abandoned suddenly bristled with weapon systems. Back on the Moon, Haeyang directed her fleet with calculated precision. Her ships moved in perfect coordination, executing maneuvers that had been practiced countless times in secret. The alien fleet, still reeling from the initial assault, found themselves caught in a deadly crossfire. Second wave, engage at will, she commanded. Target their command and control systems. Don't let them regroup. Earth's fighters darted between the massive alien vessels, their advanced AI systems allowing them to predict and counter enemy movements before they happened. Quantum beams sliced through alien armor, while EMP pulses disabled their electronic systems. The Confederation ships tried to return fire, but their weapons were ineffective against Earth's quantum shields, another technology developed during the long silence. Their powerful energy beams dispersed harmlessly, while their missiles were intercepted by point defense systems they couldn't even detect. Enemy fleet is attempting to retreat, her tactical officer reported. Their formation has completely collapsed. Multiple vessels are showing critical damage. Haeyang nodded, watching as the mighty Confederation armada began to break apart. Some ships were trying to escape while others continued to fight, but their once proud fleet was now in chaos. Maintain pressure, she ordered. Don't let them regroup. Drive them away from Earth's orbit. The battle continued for several more hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. Earth's forces, armed with technologies that had been perfected in secret, systematically dismantled the alien fleet. Ships that had arrived expecting an easy conquest were now fleeing in disarray. As the last enemy vessels retreated past Mars' orbit, Haeyang allowed herself a moment of pride. Humanity's silence had never been surrender, it had been preparation. And now, the galaxy would learn just how prepared they had been. Send word to Earth Command, she ordered. Phase 1 of Operation Awakening is complete. The enemy fleet has been routed. We stand ready for Phase 2. The stars above the moon shone peacefully once again, but this time they looked down on a changed solar system. Humanity had revealed its strength, and the Confederation had learned a costly lesson about underestimating a silent opponent. Aboard the Confederation flagship, Eternal Victory, Supreme Commander Raxon stared at the battle displays with disbelief etched across his alien features. His six-fingered hands gripped the command rail as report after report flooded in, each worse than the last. The mighty Confederation fleet, pride of 1,000 worlds, was being torn apart by weapons they had never seen before. Another base detected on Mars. His sensor officer shouted, voice trembling. They're launching more fighters from the Valles Marineris Canyon system. Our sensors can't track them. They're just appearing and disappearing at will. Raxon watched helplessly as another wave of Earth vessels materialized from nowhere, their quantum-cloaked ships becoming visible only at the moment they struck. The humans' eye combat systems predicted and countered every Confederation tactic before they could even execute them. Impossible, he muttered, watching three of his best cruisers fall to precision strikes from vessels a fraction of their size. They were silent, primitive. We monitored them for years. On the main view screen, a massive door opened in the side of Mars' largest volcano, revealing a shipyard that had been hidden there all along. Fresh squadrons of Earth fighters poured out, their weapons systems far more advanced than anything the Confederation had believed possible for such a young species. Meanwhile, deep within Earth's strategic command, Sun Mai Choi orchestrated humanity's counter-offensive with cold efficiency. The quantum computing networks under her command processed battlefield data faster than thought, coordinating attacks across the entire solar system. Launch the Titan squadrons, she ordered, watching as hidden bases on Saturn's largest moon revealed themselves. Drive their remaining forces away from the outer planets. Don't let them regroup. The massive holographic display showed the full scope of humanity's response. Bases that had been built in secret during the years of silence were now activating across the solar system. The asteroid belt bristled with weapon platforms. Jupiter's moons concealed missile batteries. Every planet and moon had been turned into a fortress, while the Confederation watched an apparently silent Earth. Status report from Luna Base, her communications officer announced. Commander Park's forces have pushed the enemy fleet past Mars orbit. Their formations are completely broken. Sun Mai allowed herself a small smile as she watched the Confederation ships scatter. Their once proud fleet was being systematically dismantled by weapons they couldn't counter and tactics they couldn't predict. Back on the Eternal Victory, Raxon received the damage reports with growing horror. Half his fleet was already destroyed or disabled. The rest were being picked apart by Earth forces that seemed to appear from thin air, strike with devastating precision, and vanish again before they could be targeted. Send the emergency signal to High Command, he ordered, knowing it would take hours for the message to reach Confederation space. The humans. They deceived us. Their silence wasn't weakness. It was preparation. A violent shudder ran through his ship as another quantum torpedo struck home. The humans' weapons ignored their strongest shields as if they didn't exist. Their AI systems predicted and countered every evasive maneuver before it could be completed. Multiple breaches in sectors 7 through 12, his damage control officer reported. Our weapons can't lock onto their ships. Their stealth technology is beyond anything we've encountered. In strategic command, Sun Mai watched with satisfaction as the enemy fleet crumbled. The quantum networks under her control coordinated thousands of ships and weapons platforms, turning the entire solar system into one vast battlefield that Earth controlled completely. They're retreating past the asteroid belt, her tactical officer reported. Their command ship is showing heavy damage. Shall we pursue? Sun Mai studied the tactical display, watching as the once mighty Confederation forces fled in disarray. Maintain pressure, but don't overextend. Let them run. Let them tell others what they found here. The battle continued for several more hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. Earth's forces, hidden and perfected during the long silence, proved superior in every way. Technologies developed in secret proved more than a match for the Confederation's supposed advantages. As the last enemy ships limped away from the solar system, Sun Mai sent a final report to Earth's unified command. The silence had served its purpose. Humanity had built its strength in secret, preparing for this very moment. The Confederation had come expecting to find a primitive world unable to defend itself. Instead, they had found a fortress, armed with weapons and technologies they couldn't hope to match. "Send word to all commands," she ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. Begin deployment of the deep space sensors. If they return with reinforcements, we'll be ready." The stars above Earth shone peacefully once again, but now they looked down on a changed solar system. Humanity's silence had hidden the greatest military buildup in its history, and the galaxy would never be the same. The dimensional gate hummed with an otherworldly energy as Colonel Mirai Yun led her strike team through the shimmering portal. The sensation of passing through the gate felt like diving into ice-cold water, but Mirai had trained for this moment for years. Behind her, 20 of Earth's best special operations soldiers followed, their quantum stealth combat suits making them nearly invisible. The team materialized inside a maintenance shaft on the Confederation's massive weapons platform, Star Killer. The alien facility floated in deep space, far beyond Pluto's orbit, where the Confederation believed they were safely out of Earth's reach. They had no idea that humanity had mastered dimensional travel technology during their years of silence. "Gate is stable," whispered Lieutenant Jin Wukang, monitoring the portable gateway device they had brought with them. "We have exactly 4 hours before power reserves are depleted." Mirai nodded, checking her quantum rifle's charge. The weapon, like everything else they carried, represented technology that the Confederation had thought impossible for humans to develop. "Team is in position," she reported back to Earth Command through their quantum entanglement communicator. "Beginning final approach." Their intelligence had been perfect. The maintenance shaft was deserted, just as their deep cover probes had shown. The alien crew never patrolled these areas, trusting their advanced sensors to detect any intruders. But they couldn't detect what their sensors didn't understand. "Move out," Mirai ordered quietly. "Remember your training. These corridors are designed for beings larger than us. Use that to your advantage." The strike team advanced through the alien vessel's heart, their movements silent and precise. Years of studying Confederation technology and architecture had prepared them for this mission. They knew every corner, every sensor blind spot, every weakness in the enemy's security systems. "First objective in sight," reported Sergeant Ha-Won Park, who was leading the advance team. Through their linked combat visors, Mirai could see what he saw: the massive power conduits that fed energy to the planet killer weapon. The Confederation had built this superweapon in secret, believing it would be their ultimate answer to Earth's unexpected resistance. The weapon could crack a planet's crust, rendering it uninhabitable. What they didn't know was that Earth had been watching them build it. "Plant the quantum charges," Mirai ordered. "Set them for simultaneous detonation. We need to take out all power systems at once." Her team worked with practiced efficiency, placing high-tech explosives at crucial points throughout the facility. The charges were powered by the same quantum technology that made their ships so deadly, technology that could bypass any known shield or defense system. As they worked their way deeper into the facility, Mirai couldn't help but feel a grim satisfaction. The Confederation had dismissed Earth as primitive when they received no response to their signals. That silence had given humanity time to develop technologies that now surpassed anything their would-be conquerors possessed. "Movement ahead," Lieutenant Jin Woo warned suddenly. "Maintenance drone patrol." The team pressed themselves against the corridor walls as the alien machines floated past. Their stealth suits bent light around them, making them completely invisible to both electronic and organic eyes. The drones passed without noting anything unusual. "Second objective reached," Mirai reported after they had covered another kilometer through the station's service tunnels. "We're at the main control center." This was the most dangerous part of their mission. The control center would be staffed, unlike the maintenance areas they had infiltrated so far. But it was also essential to their mission. They needed to plant a quantum virus in the facility's computer systems to prevent the weapon from being fired, even if they failed to destroy it completely. Deploy countermeasures, she ordered. Prepare for breach. Small devices attached to their suits began emitting carefully calculated electromagnetic pulses designed to create ghost images on the Confederation sensors. As alarms began blaring throughout the facility, the alien crew would be looking in exactly the wrong places. Breach in 3, 2, 1. The team burst into the control center with perfect coordination. Before the alien crew could react, quantum stun weapons fired, dropping them without a sound. Lieutenant Jin Woo immediately began working on the facility's computer systems, uploading the virus that Earth's best AI systems had designed. Warning: the facility's automated systems announced suddenly. Unknown energy signature detected. Security protocols activated. They're onto us, Myray announced calmly. Complete the upload. Begin fall back to extraction point. The team began their withdrawal, moving with the same precision that had got them this far. Behind them, quantum charges waited to detonate, while the virus wormed its way through the facility systems. All charges set. Sergeant How-1 confirmed. Virus upload complete. Time to extraction point, 10 minutes. As they retraced their steps through the alien corridor, Mirai allowed herself a small smile. The Confederation would soon learn that their superweapon, like everything else they had tried against Earth, would fail. Humanity's silence hadn't been submission. It had been calculation. Team is approaching extraction point, she reported to Earth Command. Mission accomplished. Standing by for dimensional gate reactivation. The gateway hummed to life just as alien security forces began converging on their position. As the last team member stepped through, Mirai pressed the detonator. Behind them, the charges began to explode, their quantum-based explosives bypassing every security measure the Confederation had built. The Star Killer facility, pride of the Confederation's weapons program, began to tear itself apart. By the time Mirai's team had returned to Earth, their enemy's greatest weapon would be nothing but scattered debris in space, proof that humanity's technological achievements had far surpassed anything the Confederation had believed possible. The final battle unfolded against the backdrop of Saturn's rings, a fitting stage for humanity's ultimate demonstration of power. Commander Hannah Kim stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiant, watching as Earth's combined fleet surrounded the remaining Confederation forces. Their quantum sensors showed every detail of the enemy fleet: battle-damaged ships, failing shields, and depleted weapon systems. All Earth forces report ready, her tactical officer announced. The enemy fleet is completely encircled. No escape vectors remain open. Hannah studied the tactical display, noting how far they had come from those first days of silence. The Confederation fleet that had once seemed so mighty now appeared small and vulnerable against the overwhelming force humanity had built in secret. Open a channel to Supreme Commander Raxon's flagship, she ordered. Let's end this. The alien commander's image appeared on the main screen. Raxon looked different now. Gone was the arrogant confidence that had marked their first encounters. In its place was a weary acceptance of defeat. Your silence deceived us, Raxon admitted, his translator conveying the bitterness in his voice. We thought you weak or afraid. Instead, you were preparing. Hannah's response was measured but firm. Earth's silence was never surrender. It was strategy. Remember that before you ever threaten us again. The formal surrender took place aboard the neutral space station that Earth had constructed specifically for this purpose. Representatives from both sides gathered in the Great Hall, its windows offering a spectacular view of Saturn's rings and the assembled fleets beyond. As Hannah signed the peace treaty on behalf of Earth's unified command, she thought back to that first morning when the alien signals had arrived. The decision to remain silent had been controversial, but it had given humanity the time it needed to prepare, to build, to surpass their would-be conquerors. The terms are fair, Raxon acknowledged as he added his own signature to the document. More than fair, considering our actions. We severely underestimated your species. A common mistake, Hannah replied. One that won't be repeated. The treaty's terms were indeed generous. Earth had no desire to perpetuate the cycle of violence. The Confederation would withdraw from Earth's solar system and recognize humanity's sovereignty. In return, Earth would share some of its technological advances, particularly in medical and environmental fields. Back on the Defiant, Hannah watched as the Confederation fleet began its long journey home. Earth ships escorted them to the solar system's edge, their quantum weapons powered down but ready, a reminder of humanity's newfound strength. Send word to all commands, she ordered. Operation Silent Shield is complete. Begin post-war protocols. Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fortresses began to emerge from their camouflage. The bases on Mars, the shipyards in the asteroid belt, the defense platforms orbiting Jupiter, all stood revealed as testament to what humanity had achieved during its years of silence. Earth's cities celebrated as the news of victory spread. The underground complexes that had served as humanity's shield now opened their doors, revealing the true scale of their technological achievements to their own people for the first time. In the weeks that followed, delegations from other galactic civilizations arrived, eager to establish diplomatic relations with this unexpectedly powerful new player in galactic politics. Each was greeted with the same message. Earth desired peace, but would never again be seen as weak. Hannah stood in Earth Defense Command's observation post, the same room where she had watched those first alien signals arrive. The holographic displays now showed a very different solar system, one protected by humanity's advanced technologies, one respected by the galaxy at large. We've received the first diplomatic requests, her aide reported. 17 species want to establish formal relations. 3 have offered technology exchange programs. Hannah nodded, watching as Earth's defense fleet conducted its regular patrols. Their ships now carried quantum weapons and dimensional drives, but their true strength had never been in their technology. It had been in humanity's patience, in their ability to wait and prepare. The war had ended, but its lesson would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. Earth's silence had proven to be the greatest military deception in known history, transforming a seemingly primitive world into a major galactic power overnight. As the sun set on this new era, Hannah knew that humanity would never need to be silent again. They had earned their place among the stars, not through conquest or aggression, but through strategy, preparation, and the wisdom to know when to wait and when to strike. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity again.